Welcome everybody to another Tuesday. We have an awesome show for you. So much knowledge, so get your notebook. How you doing, Jim?
I'm okay, Mitch. How about you?
Good. Been busy, and it's too hot out, I think.
Yeah. Did you get any of the rain? We got rain last night here. A good rain overnight.
No. We have got nothing.
Yeah, it's been too hot for too long. That's for sure. I don't
Yeah.
like.
No, we definitely need some rain.
Yeah.
So, whereabouts? You're kind of in southern Alberta then?
Yeah, Turner Valley, southwest of Calgary, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, beautiful country.
Yep.
Close to some amazing trout streams.
Yeah, we don't have to go very far. It's a pretty good, home base for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been getting out a lot, or?
Not as much as I'd like to, and I never get out as much as people seem to think I get out. I mean, I
Yeah.
get out some, but we've been doing Linda and I have been doing our fly fishing school thing, and so we're a good, the majority of the time when we're out, we're doing some teaching, and rather than, not that the teaching isn't fun, but rather than just going out and hanging around and fishing, strictly for fun, we've been working, you see.
Yeah, work always gets in the way. It's the same as guiding.
That's right.
You just guide, then you kind of lose time for yourself after a bit.
Yep, it happens. It happens for sure.
Yeah. You're talking about your classes. So I know you do a bunch of different classes. What are some of those classes that you offer?
Well, we do a number of different fly fishing classes in a few different formats. I guess for people who are just taking it up, we have both a one-day school and we have a two-day school. And then we just did it last weekend. We have a kind of a whole weekend from Friday afternoon till Sunday afternoon at a bed and breakfast down in the Crow's Nest Pass, which is the most complete one that we do. And then we also do stuff for people who have already fly fish, and we do them. Sometimes they're on topic. I do one on fishing the bow, and we do some on small streams. And then we have some other people who teach some of these classes for us who've been doing some other things too. One of them is a what we call a drift and learn on the bow with Glenn Smith, longtime bow river guy. And then we have another one we just started this year called the Headwaters, which is fly fishing like really small creeks. Some of them don't even, well, I guess they probably all have names, but these are more like tributaries to the better known streams. And so we've added that. So a bunch of different things. Some of them are right on the stream. The schools for people with some experience are on the streams. The beginner schools or the entry level schools are a combination of some classroom stuff where we talk about knots and tackle and understanding the fish, the trout food, and then dryland casting. And then the 2-day intro school, a good part of the second day is spent on the Sheep River right here at Turner Valley. So we try and cover as many bases as we can with this stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I guess you probably mostly offer those in the summer and the fall and whatnot.
Yeah, we've been cutting back a little bit just so we can have a little more time to fish ourselves in the summer. But we start them. We do some of the 1-day intro schools in May, and then we do and even in June. But we've got to kind of avoid runoff for the ones where we're depending on good water conditions. So July and August are the main months, and a little bit in September. We're kind of cutting back on the September stuff because it's such a nice time to fish.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Do you do any stillwater classes or?
No, I don't fish stillwater very much, and I got to be careful that I don't make it sound like I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just don't do it that much. My preference has always been moving water, and I guess it still is. So I've never really learned very much about fishing stillwater, and it's there's a lot of things about it that make it really challenging, and so I just haven't got there. We are actually going to Jasper this coming weekend to fish one of my favorite lakes up there that I haven't fished in a long time. So, but it's never very technical. When I fish a lake, it's not very technical. It's
No.
I don't can't tell you the pH of the water and whether the chironomids are olive green or lime green or I'm not a technical lake fisherman, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you have that one class in the Crow's Nest, and that's an overnight or a whole weekend package?
Yeah, that's a kind of an all-inclusive thing. There's 2 nights and Friday evening, all day Saturday, and most of Sunday. And there's always 2 of us there to instruct, so we can teach both a pure beginner, somebody who's completely brand new will get a full 2-day school through the thing, and somebody who's already fishes a fair amount will get more time on the water with the other instructor. We kind of group people according to their experience, and so all the meals are included in the accommodation and everything, and it's a really good event. And we've done it once a year for probably 15 years, and this year we did it twice. We did one in July and one in August. And probably do something like that next year too.
Yeah. Since you've been fishing down there so much, have you seen much changes this year, kind of with how hot it's been? And the water levels have been a little lower, but...
Well, it's been a funny year because we had a cold late spring with a good snowpack, as I recall. And the streams down there, and I'm talking about Old Man tributaries and things like that, at least in my experience, and I wasn't down there a whole bunch, but when I was down, I guess it seemed to me that they got fishing decently fairly late, like mid-July or maybe even a little later than that. And so we kind of went from, and then pretty quickly, I mean, we've been in this hot spell for a month, and so the water levels have been falling, and if you're far enough up on these streams, the water temperature I think is still okay, even though we've now got the 2 o'clock closure every afternoon. So it's just been kind of an odd summer that way. I think this rain that we had last night was pretty widespread down here, and I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing that those 2 o'clock in the afternoon closures will end at the end of the 2-week period, which is right around the end of August. So, because we got a pretty good dump here, and I think south they did too. I think. So,
yeah.
I hope that happens anyway.
Yeah, we do need the precipitation.
Yep.
And I was down on the Crow a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking at Vic Bourbon's there.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, like, with that late fall or the late start spring, the hatches kind of all just piled on top of each other.
Yeah, I've seen that other years when that happens. Yeah, you wait and wait and wait. Then the stuff that's supposed to be happening in June happens in July, along with the stuff that's supposed to happen in July.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been wondering for the last several years. I'm not seeing the insects kind of on any of our streams that I used to. I don't know if I'm the only one or not. Have you?
The quantities.
What's that?
Like the quantities of the insects.
Quantities of bugs, yeah. Like I haven't run across a decent green drake hatch on those streams, like the Old Man, the Livingston and that sort of stuff. Highwood. I haven't run across a good green drake hatch in quite a few years. Now I'm not out there all the time.
Yeah,
but I know kind of when they usually happen, and I've been asking around. And what about you? Have you been seeing much for bugs
this year? No. I was surprised when we were down there. There was just no hatch, nothing rising really.
Yeah.
So we started throwing streamers and getting more active fish, but it was nothing rising when we were down there. And if they were small.
Okay. Yeah.
There's really no big fish rising.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been finding. I mean, at times the fishing's been okay, and you can even catch them on dry flies. But my favorite thing is finding an actively rising fish and then kind of playing the game with him. And I'm just not finding that very much. And
No.
I don't know whether that means anything or not. Is it just a little? It's not going to be the same every year. So
The cycle.
But it bugs me a little because it seems like it's been that for a few years, like that for a few years.
I know up here, the North Ram, it was kind of clustered this year too.
Yeah.
With the hatch, but I was on a brown trout stream, a spring fed that had a real nice brown drake hatch.
Okay.
And stuff. So it was good. Like they were coming up for them. Awesome.
Okay.
And it was an awesome evening.
Good.
But
I wonder about those streams because I haven't I don't get up there very much, and I don't know if it's they're having the same sort of thing up there or not. But at least not with moon drakes. It sounds like. What about pale morning duns and caddis and stuff up there?
Yeah, the pale morning duns I seen earlier. There was some for sure, and they were taking them. That was still on a spring-fed creek, but those higher mountain, it just seems like the hatches just wasn't really there.
Yeah,
for a lot of those insects.
The fish I've been catching on some of those streams, at least the ones down here, they're in good shape. They're not skinny. They're not short on food. They don't seem to be getting it off the surface of the water for some reason. Yeah.
I don't know if that's just with the water temperatures the last couple of years being hotter for the insects, but
that's flip the stones. Maybe,
yeah, you flip the stones, they're still there. So
yeah,
I think maybe more nymphing is the way to go sometimes.
Oh yeah, certainly that makes sense. I just wonder why the change.
Yeah, no, beats me.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of Euro nymphing?
I do none.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have anything against it. I've just never, I've never really got going on it. I have some friends who do it, and every once in a while, I've had a couple of people who've done private, day clinics on a stream with me, and they do it, and they show me. I think I kind of understand how it works, and I think there's a lot of really clever stuff going on in Euro nymphing. I think most of all, it seems to me that what we learn from by we, I mean sort of North American fly fishers who think we know everything when we don't. I think what we learned from the Euro nymphing people is that the way to get a fly to the bottom quickly is not so much with a great big fly and lots of weight. It's with a small, dense fly and a really light tippet. And I think that's certainly true. And I think that's the fundamental thing that the Euro style of setup does with a long tippet, long leader, really thin leader, and all that, and then the long rod lets you manage it well. I mean, I think I do some of that sort of fishing.
We just call it nymphing.
No, nymphing without an indicator and doing it by feel and all that sort of stuff. But I think the Euro nymphing thing has taken that and is kind of improved that and perfected it with the small flies that really sink quickly and the skinny leader that slices through the water. And what about you? Do you do some of it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Never tried it.
Why not?
I don't know. I'd nymph or just run a dropper usually.
Yeah.
I have good success on droppers.
Yeah.
And like 70% of my fish sometimes will come off that dropper.
Right. I was out the other day and I fished for a while. I fished, and I was getting the odd look and the odd fish on a like a hopper type dry fly, and I put a dropper underneath it, a little pheasant tail like I usually do, and I didn't do anything on the dropper. Interesting. I don't know why they would.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be easier to eat the nymph right in front of their face than it is to swim up to the surface to get the dry, but sometimes they do that.
Yeah, last week It was about 50-50 for nymphing to dries
Okay.
on the ram when I had some guys out with me. So, but the dry definitely produced the bigger fish, the stimulator.
Interesting too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely took those big opportunist cutties, came up for it.
Yeah.
And then the smaller fish were hitting those nymphs that day. So,
Yeah, it's funny. That's all the stuff we don't understand. That's kind of why we do it, I guess.
yeah, for the next adventure.
That's right. That's right.
What got you into fishing?
Well, I fished when I was a kid with my dad and some friends of his. I grew up in Edmonton, so we used to spend summers in Jasper Park. So it was almost entirely lake fishing, and I didn't really start fly fishing till my dad retired, which is when he planned on taking up fly fishing, and because he had some friends who did it, and so he had all the gear, and he had intentions of becoming a fly fisher, but he never quite got there. And for whatever reason, it intrigued me. Some of these friends I knew also, and I was kind of just got really keen on the idea. And then I read some books, probably when I was in my early teens, I guess, about fly fishing, and I don't even know where they came from. I bet my dad's friends loaned him the books.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he ever read it, but I read them. One of them, the one I remember most, was called Trout by Ray Bergman.
Okay.
It was written in 1939, and it was just it really made the whole thing appealing, and so I wanted to do that, and so whatever it was, the obsession sort of bypassed my dad and settled on me somehow. Don't quite know why.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it did.
What was your first setup you had?
Oh boy, it would have been some kind of fiberglass rod.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what, because this would have been, we'd be talking about 1963 or 4 or 5.
Oh yeah.
Probably, somewhere in there. But the first significant rod we got, my dad was very good friends with a man named Lee Perkins, who was the owner of the Orvis Company, and he passed away just about a little over a year ago now. He was kind of a business associate of my dad's before he acquired Orvis. He used to come up and my dad was his real thing, rather than fishing, or instead of fishing, I guess, was bird hunting. He was a really avid upland bird hunter and waterfowl hunter, and so was Lee. And so when Lee used to come up and make sales trips to Alberta to see my dad, once he realized they had this common interest in hunting, he would schedule his sales trips in October so they could go hunting all the time. So I met him at an early age, and actually what I was leading up to was when Lee bought the Orvis Company in 1965. Later that year, he sent my dad a top end Orvis rod, which at that time was bamboo. And this was 65, and so that's the first rod I remember, what it was, because it was a pretty significant gift. And so Dad fished with that when he fished, and when he wasn't fishing with it, I fished with it, and a little later on I broke it. So I can't even actually remember how I broke it, but I broke it, and I told Lee about it in a letter, and he sent us another one. So
nice.
Pretty good, yeah. So he became, starting then, Lee Perkins became for sure my biggest influence in fly fishing and in the bird hunting stuff that I still like to do. I fished and hunted with him quite a bit over the years, and not every year even, but quite a few times. And he made a big influence on me as far as hunting and fishing goes.
And you're a Springer guy for dogs?
No,
I thought you were.
No. No, I have nothing against Springers. I have lots of friends with Springers, and I've had lots of good hunting with Springers. No, I'm a pointing dog guy. We've had Brittany's, English pointers, and setters through our last 40 years or whatever it is. And we've the last 3 have been setters. We've got 2 setters now, and that's where we seem to have settled on setters. So, are you a Springer guy?
No, I have a Weimaraner cross that I
Oh, okay.
use. She's just picked. My dad runs Llewellyn setters.
Oh, all right.
He has two, and then
Okay.
my dog picked up off them like that perfectly. So
Yeah. Oh,
it worked
that's cool.
well.
Yeah, that's we're at whatever we are, the 22nd or something of August. And
Close.
you can hunt. I get rough grouse probably starts on the
The
1st of
first.
September. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay, because down here, hunting's open on the 1st of September.
Oh yeah.
And I don't hunt that much in September because it's so warm.
Yeah.
And it's hard, it's hard on a dog to run them, when it's 25
Oh, yeah.
degrees. You got to be really careful. And also, a lot of times the crops are still in the fields, and we're hunting in grain country. So, but this year the harvest is really early. I've taken a drive out to where I hunted. And, gee, about 10 days ago, there's some of it was already done, and
Oh yeah.
there'll be a lot of it. It won't be all done, but there'll be a lot of it done by the end of August. And man, that's early for up here, down closer to Lethbridge. I think it's more normal to get it done in August.
Yeah.
Not up where
No,
I
even around here, everything's coming off quick. So
is it? Yeah, I bet we were up that way a week or so ago, and yeah, it looked there was stuff being done, and what wasn't, the wheat and barley that wasn't cut. Most of it wasn't cut, but a lot of it was ripe. So
yeah, lots of guys spraying right now. So
yeah,
they'll be coming off the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, I would think so. So that'd be good.
Yeah, and then the pheasant release site should be unstocked right away. We got a few up this way, so
yeah. When do they start doing that? In September?
I think I can't remember, but as soon as the season opens, it might be the 1st or the 15th.
Okay, no,
I'll have to double check.
Yeah.
I know my dad would know more, but he's heading to the cabin in the Yukon, so he's gonna miss the first couple of weeks. But
really,
he'll be back.
Okay. Well, all right, I guess.
No, he'll be good to get the dogs out.
Yep, it always is. It's my favorite time of year is the fall for sure. So.
Yeah, perfect time. You got fishing and hunting.
Yep. Yeah. It's a bit of a conundrum sometimes deciding what to do. I do in the fall. I hunt more because it's the only time I can hunt is in the fall,
yeah.
And I can, the fishing season is a lot longer than the hunting season. So, in theory, I have done a fair amount of fishing by the time fall gets here. That isn't always the case, but that's the theory. So I tend to chase the dogs around. And
do you also do big game hunting?
No. I never have. And again, it comes down to my dad. He never did, and I never did. I've been a shotgun guy my whole life, and people are always surprised when I tell them I've never fired a rifle other than the 22. So, I mean, I can talk shotgun gauges and shot sizes and that sort of stuff a little bit, but if somebody starts throwing around rifle calibers and all that, it's all Greek to me. I don't know anything about it. I rely on people to once in a while give us some venison. I mean, I love the wild game, or really any kind. And every once in a while, when somebody says, "I got 2 deer this year, I'm going to give you something," I say, "Okay, that'd be great."
Quick.
Yeah, I've got room in the freezer. Trust me.
Yeah. With what's kind of your favorite fishing, like cutthroats or brown trout, or which is the one you're most passionate about for a trout?
I don't know that I would even categorize it by species. My favorite fish, and I kind of mentioned earlier, is the one that's nicely feeding on the surface, a happy surface feeding trout of really any species, and I'm good with that. Our cutthroats, are the fish that seem to feed on the surface the most willingly, and they do it very nicely.
Yeah.
There's something really special about brown trout, and get them on dry flies. And rainbows are the best fighting fish, especially Bow River rainbows are just wonderful fish. So, I mean, I guess it would be like asking which is your favorite child. I only have one, so I do have a favorite. But, otherwise, I don't think you're allowed to have a favorite child, and I don't think I have I don't think I have a favorite stream even, or a favorite species of fish, but
Yeah.
Love the one you're with, like Steve Stills said.
Yeah, for sure. With the fall coming, is there any species you're going to focus on more?
Well, we're actually every year we host a trip to a fishing lodge in sort of north central BC near Williams Lake. The lodge is Northern Lights Lodge, and we go up there. We've been going up there every fall for about 5 years, I guess. And there's really two kinds of fishing. They have resident fish in the streams. The lodge, I should explain, is on Quesnel Lake, but we go and fish the rivers that flow into and out of Quesnel Lake. And we've been there in July, and I think earlier in August, other years. And you get some really nice dry fly fishing to the resident fish. And then sometime about now, the sockeye salmon arrive.
Yeah.
Coming out through the Fraser system into the Quesnel River, up into Quesnel Lake, and into a couple of tributaries, or streams that flow into the lake. And when the sockeye arrive, the trout, the resident trout, mostly rainbows, but also some bull trout, follow them up to eat the eggs. So we've kind of targeted that event most of the time by going kind of in mid to late September. This year we're going in right at the end. I guess our first day of fishing is maybe the 30th of September. So we're a little earlier. We're trying to be greedy and get some of the dry fly fishing for the resident fish, and hopefully find some bigger fish following the salmon. So we'll see how that turns out. Apparently the sockeye are already showing up, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a standard fall thing for us. So these are rainbows. They're wild native rainbows up there. There's even a kind of a particular strain of fish that's kind of distinctive. They're a real gold colored rainbow, really beautiful fish, sort of gold bodies with the red stripe down the side. And so we get some of those, and then we get not a lot, but some bull trout. You can see some bull trout, and you can sometimes if you just fish the streamers in likely spots or on log jams and stuff, you'll catch a few bull trout, and they get pretty big up there. There'd be like some 10 and 12 pounders and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of the way the main I don't know, the big treat in our fall fishing for the last several years has been going out there, and we're doing it again this year. So we're tying it onto that trip I mentioned to Jasper. We're going to Jasper for a couple of days, and then up to Quesnel Lake for 4 days fishing, I guess. So that'll be the big thing. And by the time we get back, it'll be still be early September, but I'm hoping I can start to get running around with the dogs after that. I might not fish too much in the fall.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When you show up to a stream or river that you've never fished, what's kind of the first structure you're looking for when you're chasing those trout in it?
Well, I'd just be, hopefully I'd know a little something about it, even if I hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
But I would be looking for water deep enough to make a fish feel safe. Now, I don't mean water that has to be 10 feet deep. I think people make a bit of a mistake sometimes by assuming that the only place you find fish in streams is in the real deep holes. And I don't mean that. I just mean they've got to feel safe, feel like they can't be seen from above. And sometimes that can be deeper water, and sometimes it's just broken water. And I look for places where things are changing. I just call this sort of water with character, and by that I mean places where the speed and the depth and the direction of the water are not all the same.
Yeah.
If I come to a section of water and it's a straight stretch and it's this deep everywhere, nothing interrupting the flow, it's not changing direction, it's not getting deeper or shallower, I probably wouldn't fish unless I saw fish in it or saw fish rising. I'd look for places where you have these changes in depth and direction, and you get a lot of that where you have bends in a stream. So if I was in a real straight section, if the wind didn't look very good, I would probably keep walking until I started to find some bends. A lot of the best water in the streams is in the bends. You get different current speeds then, and look for places where faster water meets slower water, because the fish will they'll like to lie near that seam where the quick water meets the slower water. The slower water is where they like to position themselves, but they want to be right next to the faster water, because that's what brings the food right by them.
Yep.
They're all facing upstream, so they can sit in a place where they don't have to work very hard, but where there's still a good steady current bringing food by. So I look for those kinds of places, and depending on the kind of stream, some of those brown trout streams, undercut banks, that sort of stuff. We don't get as many undercut banks in the cutthroat streams, but sometimes there's fallen logs and stuff. And a lot of it is these lines of current, inside corners, top of pools, and that sort of stuff.
Those seams and whatnot.
Yeah, and being careful to fish even the small insignificant spots. If it doesn't look like much, I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it, but you'd be surprised, or you wouldn't, but people are often surprised what you might find in a miniature version of a really good spot. This water's just a little deeper here than everywhere else. It's maybe 2.5 feet deep instead of 2 feet deep, and it's just got a little more of that deep green sort of color to it, and it's only 5 or 6 feet long, but I bet I might as well throw a fly through there while I'm near it. And, you can find stuff. You don't just have to fish the big obvious places.
Yeah,
there, but they're in other places too.
That little pocket water can hold some big
fish. Exactly. Yeah.
And you feel some big browns, some big browns, and just littlest things that look like nothing.
Yeah, the brown trout are so weird. You never know. Sometimes it's hard to explain why a good brown trout is where he is.
Yeah.
If I catch a fish, I like to think about why he was there. And I think I come up with a big question mark more often when it's brown trout than the other fish.
Yeah. They are interesting.
They are.
Very territorial. Most of the time you kind of know where they kind of hang out, but then the next day, sometimes they're gone.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes they're gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're there. It seems like when a brown trout is decided, a brown trout stream is turned off, it's turned off. Seems like more so than the other streams to me. But
I find them very more selective, and it's either bang, 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 or it's maybe one or two.
Yeah.
But this year's been good.
Is that right? Okay.
On all the spring feds I've fished, there's a few lesser known ones that are just little strips that have been really good.
Isn't that nice? Oh, that's great.
But
how are those streams for temperature? I bet some of them are not very good. Well, the spring fed ones will be okay, I guess. But
the one I've fished most is in the mountains, so it gets it gets pretty cool. But there is some big flat stretches that are pretty warm with beaver dams.
Oh, that'll slow it down a little.
That heats them up quite a bit, but we don't fish them in the afternoon at all. So
that's good.
You kind of get the morning, then move on. Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
If you have one fish you'd like to target that you haven't caught yet, what would that be?
Well, I've never done the saltwater stuff. So I suppose, can I have more than one?
I have 1,000 probably.
Okay. I've caught a few steelhead. I'm not a regular steelheader, but I've caught steelhead, and I like them a lot. But I think I'd like to catch an Atlantic salmon. Yeah, it's sort of the bookend, geography wise, and kind of other things too with the steelhead. An Atlantic salmon would be good. And I'd like to do some of the saltwater stuff. I think I'd like to catch a tarpon.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's high on my list.
Yeah.
With that, are you going to plan any of those trips, or guys that do those trips more often?
I know people who do those kind of trips all the time. Most of them have more money than I do, so they can afford to do those
Yeah.
I teach fly fishing for a living, so no real plans. I'm guessing probably neither of those things will happen. And I'm okay with that. I mean, nobody needs to feel sorry for me about fishing opportunities. I've fished lots, and I've fished some really good places, and I don't feel shortchanged in the fishing department. But you did ask what I would.
Yeah.
What
No,
I like.
my buddy lives up just outside of Terrace, and he said the steelhead has been declining. It hasn't been great steelhead fishing.
Yeah, they're in trouble, I think.
He backs right onto the Skeena.
Okay.
And that's where we stay when we come back from the Yukon for like a week of fishing up there. But this year he said it's just not been great for the steelhead.
Have they done the counts yet? Don't they have a place they count them up on? What is it? On one of those lakes? The fish going through the lake.
I haven't looked into that, but he said just the numbers that he's been seeing has just been not there the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, they've shut down the Thompson, and they've shut down a number of the Vancouver Island rivers just because there's not enough fish. And I think the Skeena system, the Bulkley and the Maurice and all that, I'm pretty sure they haven't been getting better. The runs haven't been getting better. And, so I don't know. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, hopefully the cycle just changes and it goes back to what it was at some point.
Yeah.
But what can you do, I guess? Just see what happens.
Or I guess you can find out what's going on through a place like the Steelhead Society or something, and help them with their efforts. I'm not up on what they're particularly working on. I know that for decades, incidental netting of steelhead in the river mouths has been an issue, and I bet it still is. But there's more than that now too. I think there's the warming of the oceans and stuff has done some things. And I'm not sure what. But I would look to those people because they probably have good ideas what's going on.
100%.
Yeah.
Have you started setting up classes for next year?
No, we will probably. Well, we will before Christmas because we sell some spots in schools as Christmas gifts. So we'll have it figured out and listed on our website by the I don't know, sometime in November probably. So. Yeah. Linda will get on me about that. We got to plan those schools. Yeah, I know.
How did you get into writing books and articles and whatnot?
Well, I just tried it out. I think I probably did my first magazine piece in I think it was about 1978 maybe, and I just for quite a long time before I did that, I enjoyed reading about fishing and hunting and stuff in the books, that I mentioned earlier, and in Field and Stream and Outdoor Life and Sports Afield and that, and Fly Fisherman magazine, and I just thought I wonder if I could do that, and I sort of thought I might be able to do it. For no particular reason. It's not like I was. I don't have a English or literature degree or anything, and I took English and literature in high school, and I think I probably took it in university, but I wasn't. That was all before I kind of became interested in writing, and so I just one day I guess I just wrote a piece and sent it to a magazine, and they bought it, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll do that again. And it sounds sort of overly simple, but that's kind of what I did. I like doing it. I don't do it. I'm not obsessed with writing like some people write a lot more than I do. I mean, I've done quite a bit, but I don't. I know friends who just say, "Yeah, I write every day." Well, I don't write every day. I write mostly when I've got a deadline coming, and not just that, but when more so in the wintertime. I do a lot more of it in the wintertime. And the books just kind of, I guess, were a natural thing after I was writing some magazine pieces. The first book I wrote was called Blue Ribbon Bow, and that was it wasn't even my idea. It was an Edmonton publisher, Lone Pine Publishing, that I remember they called me and said, we want to do a book about the Bow River, and we think maybe you could be the guy to write it. I thought, okay. So that was a long time ago, and I did that. And then kind of once you've written a book, then you can do it. And then I think it's not too many people write just one book. I don't think. I mean, a few, I suppose. But kind of once you've done that, then you can do it. Before that, you probably, I know I don't think I considered writing a book until they asked me to write a book. But if I had, I'd have probably thought, oh, that's a pretty big job. I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah.
But you just little by little, you just do it. And that's where if you're working on a book, you'll write. In my case, I'll write more than when I'm just doing magazine pieces, because it's a kind of a big undertaking. But it's like the question of how you eat an elephant. Well, one forkful at a time. Take enough forkfuls, you've eaten the whole elephant. So that's how you do it. And I do enjoy writing. I do enjoy it, and I teach writing a little bit, and I really like doing that. It's not something you get to talk about very much to very many people. It's not a cocktail party topic of conversation. Writing.
No.
If you find there happens to be another writer at the party, then you probably do. But otherwise, you never talk about it. So when I'm teaching writing, it's really nice to have people that you can talk about, goofy things like, punctuation, or how to start a piece, or how to stop a piece, or how do you do this, or how should I do that? And so, I enjoy the writing part of it. I don't know if I've got any more books in me or not. I didn't think I really had another fishing book in me, and we've got this one that's just come out this spring called Trout Tracks, which is a collection of magazine pieces. And I was trying to think about, do I have another topic for a book? And I didn't come up with anything. And I finally thought, well, my previous collection called Watermarks came out about 12 years ago. And I thought, oh man, I must have enough. There it is. There's Trout Tracks. Yeah. Must have enough stuff for another collection. And I went through it all, and I had lots of stuff, and I was able to, pick through it and grab what I thought was the strongest stuff. And Rocky Mountain Books in Victoria liked the idea enough to publish the book. So there's another one.
Yeah. No, I haven't picked it up yet. I saw it out at Nordegg the other day, though.
Oh, did somebody have it out there?
Yeah, there's 2 copies at the Fast Gas.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're gone by now. Perfect place for them.
Well, I hope they've been replaced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sold and reordered. That's what we hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first article you wrote?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wrote. It was about trico fishing on the Bow. And, And I sold it to Western Sportsman magazine.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still around. Are they still around? Published in Regina for a long time.
They were for a bit.
They were for a long time. Yeah, I haven't looked for a long time. No.
I haven't seen them, but maybe that I might have seen them in BC when I was there last, maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, I do it.
But it doesn't seem like there's too many out here anymore.
Yeah, well, actual magazines, it's a hard go, I think, and all of them are doing much more of an online presence. Along some of them, of course, just online.
Yeah.
Some of them have got both online and an actual, whatever you call a real magazine, a hard copy magazine. I don't know what you call it. Paper magazine. Yeah.
I just call it magazine.
Yeah. That's what it is to me.
But there's something about having it in your hand and having.
Oh yeah, there is. I mean, it's mostly people, my age that are like that. I've never read an ebook.
No.
I don't know. I should, I guess, but I like a book, and I like the way the paper feels, and I sometimes even like the way a book smells. Sometimes old books get kind of that musty smell, and you think, I don't know. It shouldn't matter, and it doesn't to most people, but some of us old guys are like that. You're not old enough, but
no, not yet.
you will be someday.
But I like old books as well, like from my grandparents and stuff. I have old hunting, fishing books from years and years ago. And I like to, when I see one, I'll get it if it's super old, just because it's just written so differently.
Yeah. Oh, they're
And
really
it's
different.
just so cool to see their aspects from that time to our time now.
A lot of much more stories, more narrative sort of stuff. We weren't necessarily obsessed with overtly teaching.
Yes. Kind of like what's kind of your favorite article to write?
Oh, well, there's a bit of I don't know, not really a dilemma or a contradiction, but the easiest pieces to sell are always instructional things: how to do this, how to do that, this kind of fishing, that kind of fishing, or writing about places. I don't write about places very much. I'm kind of sensitive to if it's someplace that's already well known, then I can certainly write about it. But if it's, I'm not really big on revealing the latest secret spot that nobody knows about. So, so those are the easiest to sell. So a how-to piece is the easiest to sell, and is mostly what's published. I'm much more interested in writing the other stuff, which can be, I describe it as I'm more interested in the why than the how these days, and just sometimes just thinking about, maybe it's even, we talked about it earlier, like why do brown trout, when they turn off, or why do why did the fish eat this yesterday and not today, and stuff like that. And so I kind of like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah. So it's really nice. I do this back page column in Fly Fusion magazine, and it's really nice because I have really pretty, in fact, completely free reign on what I decide to write about. So if I get some oddball, thing in my head, I can write about it. I don't have to. I'm lucky I don't have to sort of run it by the editor. Sometimes I do, but I don't really have to do that. So if it's some really strange, out in left field idea, I can write about it, and I like doing that.
Yeah. Do you, when you wrote your first book, like, did you do it in sections, or you kind of just went for it, or how did you tackle that?
I don't exactly remember. I do know that when I started it, I did it with a typewriter. I did quite a bit on a typewriter. And then I actually used, they didn't even call them computers then, they called them word processors. It was an old K-Pro computer, and I was able, and you're able to edit and stuff as you go. So I wrote most of it on that. But I don't remember. You don't have to start with chapter 1. And I don't remember whether I did or not with Blue Ribbon Bow. But other times I like to start with something that I've already got a pretty good handle on as far as what I'm going to say, and I can kind of get rolling. And whatever, I'll just look and say, I'm going to write this one because I know I've been thinking about this. I know what I want to say here. I'm going to write this chapter now. And then you can, sometimes you may not write, well, certainly things like if you're writing an introduction to the book or some sort of notes to the reader, you'd probably do that last because you don't know quite what you're introducing until it exists. So that might be the last thing you write, would be some of the things the reader reads first, probably the things you've written last when you're kind of pretty much done. But no, I would just start with something that I kind of know how to do, and something that doesn't maybe need a lot of research, sort of ease into it and then get rolling. And then if I'm going well and think it's going well, and I find it easier to go into the harder stuff, which might require, some research, some digging up some facts, that kind of thing, or it might be something that's kind of hard to describe or explain, then I work on that later. I guess I make it easy at first, do the hard stuff later.
Yeah. to get that body kind of, then just expand and fill the spots.
Yeah. Yeah. And just so you writing for me, I've never had, what people call a writer's block. I've never not been able to write. It's just a matter of you just start writing, and people who, I know you didn't ask me, but people say, "Oh, I writer's block. I don't know. How do you avoid writer's block?" And I say, "Well, I just start writing, and when I'm starting, it doesn't have to be good. I don't insist on what I write first that has to be good or will even ever be used. I just got to start." So you don't have to write the first sentence of a chapter or of an article first. Just start writing. Start writing what you must have something in mind to say, or you wouldn't even be thinking about writing. So just say the stuff that you know what you want to say, and then you fix it up later. And that's the way I go. Not everybody does that. I have a novelist friend, and he almost doesn't write sentence 2 until he's got sentence 1 just the way he wants it, and so he does very little rewriting, and I do tons of rewriting. I get it all down, and it's a big mess. Then I start to see how it needs to be organized, and I might find, the opening sentence or 2, it might be in the middle of the piece somewhere, and I think, wait a minute, I got to start with this. So you pull it out, put it up there. So yeah, it's assembly as much as anything for me. I spit out a whole bunch of stuff and then assemble it into whatever I can, and then I'll find out what's missing, or what doesn't need to be said, or what's been said twice, and so I work on it. I do most of the work after I get the first, however many words down. Then I try and make them good. They're never good at first.
No, I've been dabbling a bit, and it's kind of, I just kind of run through kind of everything, then fill it. Yeah. Kind of. Then give it to the wife to edit, because I'm not very good at the English.
Okay. Well, there's that method too. It is good to have other eyes look at it, because the other eyes will see you. When you read your own stuff, you think you know what it says because you know what you mean. But somebody else might say, "I don't know what you mean here."
Oh, she tells me that.
That's the case, then you have to fix it.
Yeah, she tells me that a lot.
Okay.
But that's okay. I'm no expert in the English. I was never good at that, but I know what I want, and I know how I want to explain it then.
Yeah. And it's certainly something, that can be learned. You learn the rules of punctuation and grammar and stuff, and it's not that hard. There's lots of great books, and you can go online and find all kinds of stuff. And you get better the more of it you do. You get both better and faster the more of it you do. So it's not very many people, I think, are good right away. There would be some, but most people, certainly you have to work at it. And not be afraid of being critical of your own stuff. You shouldn't read it thinking, this is great. This is terrific. But you just read it and see, is there anything here that isn't good?
Yeah.
Find that, fix it.
For sure.
Oh, we've got a question here. Is this?
Brody was wondering your preference for rod, reel, and line brands.
Well, my preference is somewhat biased because I worked for the company for a while, and I've had a long sort of relationship with the Orvis company. So I've got more Orvis tackle than anything else, and they make really good stuff. But so do lots of other people. I think the important thing is not to be influenced by somebody like me or a friend who says, "Oh, I use such and such a rod and it's great." That doesn't mean you have to use that. Especially rods, you should try out a rod. Cast a rod before you buy a rod. Don't buy one because somebody else likes it, because everybody's not the same. So you got to find one that you like, and if you go to a fly shop, you should go there kind of with a rod length and line weight in mind, and a price range in mind, and just tell them I'm looking for a 9-foot 5-weight whole outfit, and I'd like to not pay more than $600. And what can you show me? And they'll show you some stuff, and not to show you, but you go in the parking lot and cast them, and there'll be a difference. You'll like some better than others. Might as well buy the one you like. So
like anything else.
Yeah.
Bows, rifles.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, all that kind of stuff. So it's your
Yeah.
choice, and you should try it before you buy it.
For that first rod, would you recommend the 5-weight, like classic all around, or?
Yeah, I think probably, depending a little on what a person's intentions were. If you're fishing streams in Alberta for trout, yeah, I would probably say a 5. Well, I'd say a 5-weight.
Yeah.
8.5 or 9-footer. 9-footers are by far the most popular these days. I have some, but I also do quite a lot of fishing with an 8.5-foot rod when I'm on foot. When I'm wading a stream, I find I can be a little more accurate maybe with an 8.5-footer. If someone was fishing lakes, mostly lakes, I'd probably say a 9-foot 6-weight, I would guess.
Yeah.
So that's where, if you're talking about Alberta and trout.
Yeah. I love little streams, so I do a lot of 3-weighting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's just it. If you're going to specialize, or if you find yourself liking a particular type of fishing, then you can specialize in that. I think people get a 5-weight and they fish around with it, and you can do everything you need to do with a 5. But if you find yourself fishing a lot of small creeks, sure, get yourself a 3-weight or a 4-weight. Then on the other hand, if you find yourself kind of getting into this lake thing a little bit, and you maybe want to fish for pike or maybe even steelhead, well, then maybe you get an 8-weight. But I don't think you start with something, that's at either end of the spectrum. You start with one in the middle. It's going to be versatile. And then if you find you like something that'll be handled better by a lighter or heavier line weight, and that's when you do that. You move that. I mean, anybody who gets into this with any seriousness is not going to have just one rod, one outfit.
No. I tell the wife that too. But
let me guess. I bet she probably already knows that.
Yeah, I got lots of rods.
Yeah.
Actually, I broke my first rod on the Crow 2 weeks ago.
The first one, is it? Okay.
Well, not my first one I broke, but my very first rod I ever got.
Oh, really? Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
How'd it break?
Streamer, wind, took the tip off of it.
Okay, yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't the back of my head, but.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Well,
that's
happened.
Always not fun. Yeah, we're running down here. Where can everybody find all your stuff, your books, your guides, or your teaching?
Yeah, the best place on our website, which is McLennanflyfishing.com. You just have to be careful how you spell McLennan. Lots of people get it wrong. It's right there under my name, at least on my computer screen. And it's spelled correctly. And there's everything is there. There's email links if you want one of the books. We can mail a book to people, or we can sign them up for a class, or talk about. There we are, right there. Talk about a school, or just kind of anything to do with fly fishing. We're happy to talk about it when we're not doing it. We're talking about it, kind of like tonight.
Yeah. Do you have Instagram page and Facebook pages they can check you out at too and follow you?
Yeah. Facebook page, just Jim McLennan. And do you actually have Instagram pages? I don't know. I do stuff on Instagram. Does that mean I have a page?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an Instagram profile, maybe.
A profile? Oh, okay. I think I do. I know how to put stuff up on Instagram.
Yeah.
Does that mean I have this?
You'll have your page with all your pictures.
Oh, I guess so. I've never looked at that though. I guess I could, but yes, I do that. Yeah, I do Instagram.
Okay. Just search for Jim. He'll be on Instagram.
There you go. There you go. And Linda's on there. Linda doesn't do Facebook, but she does Instagram, and you can see a lot of her stuff and some of her art on there. She's doing art. In fact, her art illustrates the Trout Tracks book. It's a bunch of her drawings and paintings that are really, really good. So
nice.
Wow.
Can't wait to pick it up.
Okay. Well,
next time in Nordegg, I'll grab it if it's still there.
Okay. If not, ask him for it.
Yeah.
Say, when are you going to get some more?
It should be full.
That's right. You'll need a couple dozen for sure.
Well, I really appreciate coming on, sharing some knowledge with us.
Great.
Thank you very much. And Do you have any other thing else you'd like to share with us this evening, or?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think we've kind of covered it. It's a great thing about fly fishing is that it produces or creates people who care for the places that fly fishing happens, and
Yeah.
I think encourage people to support those kind of organizations that are able to employ experts to assess and watch over things relating to our fisheries, that sort of thing. The Trout Unlimited is active in Alberta, and there's I guess it's the Bow River Trout Foundation is another one down here that's active. Those sorts of things I think are really important. Question: can we order books through me directly? Yes, you can. Just you can just go to the website, and there's a page there on writing, and the books are listed there, or just anywhere. And there's lots of email links on the website, and just send us an email, and we'll get you fixed up. The email address is McLennanFlyFishing1@gmail.com. If you don't want to go to the website to find it. Yes, we can definitely mail the books.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. We kind of touch base on kind of a little bit of everything. So
that's great.
go grab a book. So then you get the full aspect, because there's too much to learn from listening to us. You might as well read it from the man.
Well, I'd like it if you'd read some, and also important that you just go do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Jim.
It's good, but it's not as good as doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Thanks again, Jim.
Okay, Mitch.
We'll see everybody on the 30th. We got Lisa Roper, Amber, and Tash. We'll be chatting with them again. So we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right, Mitch. Thanks for doing this. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay. See you, everybody.